we aren't going to have our industry and handmade arts totally collapse under the fist of AI. That is pretty extreme when you think about it. So I really want to break down a different perspective on AI and a different perspective on art. And I'm talking about 2D motion graphics, 3D motion graphics, handmade arts, sculpture, painting, and just anything that is handmade, anything that's made by a human. And that's what I mean by handmade, made by a human. Musicians, writers, all of you. There's a lot of fair bait right now on the internet. There's a lot of toxic posts. I see them everywhere. I see them on Instagram. I see them on LinkedIn. I cannot escape them. My job is being on the internet. My job is digital. I'm a 3D motion designer. I'm a freelancer. This is my business. And I've lost count of how many people have asked me if I'm going to keep a job in the age of AI, which is the most ridiculous question. The most ridiculous question. Now, I understand where it's coming from, but that doesn't make it any less ridiculous. And I want you to remember your power, remember what you bring to the table as a human artist designer, because it matters, because it's valuable, and because I think these posts, the greatest harm they can cause is in making you doubt yourself. Because when they make you doubt yourself, they take away your power. And I want you to hold on to that. Okay, and I'm going to give a metaphor, an explanation for why it isn't the end of our businesses, why we can still be here, why you can choose to work without AI and still be here. So let me give a metaphor, okay? So the main selling point that I see right now for AI in design and in art is that it is cheap, it is fast and efficient, and that you don't need a high skill level in order to use it. So it's easier to implement. I see those in marketing across social media. Now we can get into a debate, is it really less money? Is it really more efficient? Because there's a lot of money going into it and it uses a lot of energy. We can definitely have that conversation and have that debate. But for the purposes of this metaphor and communicating how our businesses can still be here in the age of AI, we're going to say that what they are marketing is, let's say, true, that they are faster, they are cheaper, and you don't need as much experience in order to make something, that you can do it. Okay? And let's just say that that's true. So in this metaphor, a completely AI design business, what's representing that is McDonald's, because McDonald's is fast, it's efficient. It's pretty inexpensive. You can get a burger pretty cheap. It is a successful business. Okay, it makes money, it brings it in. Now, on the other hand, there's the other extreme where there is a 5-star restaurant. Now that's your completely made by hand at a high skill level, making design, making art, producing something. Now, would anyone say, oh, McDonald's is going to put out of business that 5-star restaurant? No, that'd be absolutely absurd and ridiculous. Yet that's what I see people arguing here on the internet when it comes to our jobs in design and art. And I wouldn't say, oh, the 5-star restaurant is going to make the McDonald's go out of business, because that would be equally ridiculous. They can both coexist in the same economy, in the same world, and they can both be successful businesses. And you don't need to feel pressured like you're going to fall behind if you don't choose to be a McDonald's. No, there's so many different types of restaurants and diversity in the industry where you get to be unique and you can still be successful. You don't have to do things the same way everyone's saying you need to do them on the internet. Okay, you get to build your own system. You get to build your own business. You get to see what makes you different, what makes you thrive. Because we aren't here to just stay in existence as businesses. We're here to succeed. I'm not just talking about how we'll continue making art even if there's AI because we just love what we do. I'm saying you can still make money at it. You can still make money at it, and there's a lot of fear-mongering on the internet, and there's a lot of fear bait, and it's actually strategic. It's strategic. And I'd argue it's a little bit malicious, but you don't have to give in to that. You don't have to give your power away. Again, I said it's about self-doubt. So what am I talking about when I talk about belief and self-doubt and what we're seeing right now online? Because it is strategic. It's manipulative, a lot of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. So when you think of, I'll give an example, and I've been bullied before in my life, had people say, "Oh, you can't make it, you can't do this. Nothing that you do is good." I've heard that, and I think a lot of people have been bullied at some point in their life and been told, "You can't do this, you can't succeed. What you're doing is not worth anything." Now I'm a very successful business, but I've definitely heard those things, and they have affected me. I'd be lying if I didn't say that the things I've heard people say to me that were negative didn't affect me. Because they did. They were something I had to overcome. Early on in my career, I really struggled with confidence. And this is why I believe that you can succeed, because I've seen transitions within myself. And there's no reason why anyone else can't do it, okay? When I started out as a designer, I was incredibly insecure. I struggled with confidence. I was scared to talk to people and go to networking events. I was scared to post YouTube videos. I was scared to go into meetings. And I've really worked hard at overcoming that. Now, I can walk into a meeting with full confidence, communicate what I do, how it adds value, and what makes me different, and why they should hire me, and I can land that job. It's much harder when you don't believe in yourself, because in sales, one of the key factors to making a sale is if the salesperson believes in what they're saying, in the value that they bring. People can sense that, they can feel that. They can feel that. And people get a gut feeling when something seems off and people don't believe in what they're saying. The most charismatic people believe fully in what they're saying. The best salespeople believe in what they're selling. Or at least have convinced themselves to believe in it. And so when you see those posts online saying, oh, designers are going to be out of a job, oh, artists can't keep up, they're gonna fall behind unless if they start using AI and changing what they do. When you see that online, that puts you at risk of doubting yourself, at doubting your work, at doubting your design. And that's not by accident, because this is a game of business. So these AI companies, they know that if they can make us start doubting ourselves as artists, we'll have a harder time making sales. And they know that it will help build belief in their product. Now, that is manipulative. And the interesting thing about that kind of fair bait is that it only works if you believe it. But if you have clarity of what is happening and the strategy behind it, and you have clarity on your own value in your work and how you contribute to society as an artist in what you do, those fair tactics won't work. And when they don't work, you won't hand over your power by feeling fair, by feeling self-doubt. You'll hold on to your power, and you'll find it easier to find work. It took a lot of work for me to grow within myself, to heal those past things that I've lived through, the times when I was bullied, when I was told that I was no good, that I couldn't do it, that I couldn't succeed. It took a lot of work. It took years of work to heal that. But when you do, you become a really good salesperson and you find success in your business. And that's what I want for designers and artists around the world, because I believe in what you can do. And I understand that right now the economy does not feel normal. And I want to tell you right now that that is completely valid. My health insurance costs way more now as a freelancer than it did last year. It costs a ton. And I hear of layoffs going on, and that is real. I'm not here to tell you that what you're feeling and what you're going through isn't real, because it is real. And I'm also here to tell you that you are more powerful than you realize, and you get to write your story. And you can be a hero in your own story. You can succeed. You can have an art or design business now. You can exist in this world, and you belong here. And I don't want you to believe in all that self-doubt, because it's not reality. And what these companies are saying when they say, oh, art and designers, we're done with them because they can be replaced with AI, well, that's a bunch of lies. It is a lie. I will believe it when McDonald's replaces all the five-star restaurants. And I don't see that happening. I really don't. Now, going on with this metaphor of five-star restaurants, well, how are they still in business when they cost more money? When maybe it takes a little bit longer to produce something, to produce some food that it goes beyond food. It is nutrition for your soul. It takes more thought, more creativity. You have chefs that have dedicated their lives to this craft. They know it inside and out. In every small detail. They are a true professional, a true expert. These five-star restaurants, they are selling service. When you walk through that door, you feel like the most important person in the world. And it's an experience that you'll remember for the rest of your life because it is art in its truest form. It's an experience you'll talk about for years. The 5-star restaurant and the McDonald's are serving two different needs. They're serving two different types of people many times, and sometimes there's a person who may want McDonald's one day, and one day they may save up to go to this 5-star restaurant. That's their dream, that's on their bucket list, that they want to experience because they're actually a foodie. And I think that's beautiful. That we live in a world where you can choose one day I want Chinese food, the next day I want deep dish pizza. Maybe I want Mexican food, maybe I want a burrito, and that's okay. So this idea that there is one business model, whether it be a restaurant or a type of design business, that can succeed as complete, well, I don't want to say that word on YouTube. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's silly and it's ridiculous. And I see it online, and it feels like a form of bullying because it's there to cause self-doubt. But when you see it, it no longer will cause self-doubt. When you see it for what it is, you can remember and bring yourself back to the present moment and ground yourself in reality that you can have a job here and do what you love. That's reality. The extreme view is, well, there's two extreme views. That AI is going to take over all art and design jobs. We're going out of business. There's nothing we can do. That's one extreme view, that it's the end of people being hired in design and arts. The other extreme is there is no more AI going to be here in the future because it just isn't useful. Now, that's not really the truth either. I think AI is like a lot of different technologies in the sense that it can be used ethically or unethically. That any great, powerful tool needs regulation. And at the same time, I want to take away some of that fear, because that fear, it's brutal, and I'm tired of seeing it on the internet. It is so brutal. It's hard for me as, I'm not even going to say as an artist, as just a human, to be on social media for my job, being exposed to all that negativity, all that fear, all that garbage. And it's not logical that that stuff is there saying those things. Those aren't logical remarks. But bullying never was logical. Bullying was never logical. Because it's not the truth. It's trying to fool us to viewing ourselves differently and to viewing our field differently and to losing hope. Don't lose hope. Hope's not gone. We're here existing right now. We're doing this. And when I think about the impact that art has made on my life, I've read books that have changed my perspective, written by very creative writers. I've listened to music that has changed my life by David Bowie and Andrew Bird. I love music. I've eaten food that feels like food for the soul. reminds me of family, and that has changed who I am. I've seen art, movies that have changed my life. Seen I've seen Hayao Miyazaki's movies, Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. So many times I've lost count, and I never get tired of them. They've changed my life. And there's a painter who's changed my life. Artemisia Gentilici. Whenever life felt hard, whenever owning a business felt hard, whenever things felt impossible, I remembered what she went through as a Baroque artist, as one of the first female, the first female Italian painter who had a business at a time when women just didn't work, that they just didn't have that as an option, but she made it an option for herself. She overcame everything. She did it. So when things feel hard for me in 2026, and I remember her, I feel like I have no excuse. I have no reason to give up. If she can do it, I can do it. If she can have a business in the Baroque period in Italy and overcome all that she did, if you look up the history on her, you'll see what I mean. If she can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, you can do it. You can overcome this, man or woman. It doesn't matter what challenges you have, who you are, what your background is, what your gender is. You can overcome these challenges. You can do it. I believe in you. And the best stories have obstacles. They have challenges that feel impossible. And the best stories have a character that overcomes them. That's the hero. And that's not just fantasy. That's reality. You can make that happen. But first, you need to realize that you can. First, you need to realize that a lot of the things that you're reading on the internet is not true. Because your work has value, you have value. And I care about you. When I go to many networking events, I'll have people walk up to me, and some of them have had the audacity, after introducing themselves and I introduce myself, to say, "Aren't you worried you're gonna be out of a job with AI?" Oh no, I'm not worried at all. And I don't want you to be either. Layoffs are real, but it's just a chapter in your story. It's not the ending. You get to write the next chapter. And when you wipe out the self-doubt, you can start seeing yourself a little bit more clearly. What makes you different as an artist, as a designer? What makes you different? What sets you apart? What's unique about you that no AI, no nothing can reproduce? What's your story? Where do you come from? What have you done? What sets you apart? Because each one of us is different. I have my story and it helps me get work. I have a background in industrial design. I have experience working with engineers, communicating their ideas. I have a story. And I have experience that helps me get work. Something that AI does not replace. You have one too. And you can find it within yourself. Because you aren't just a number in a corporation. You aren't just a number in a statistic. You can be the hero in your story. So if you would like more artists to see something empowering about where we are right now, please hit like and subscribe so that this reaches more people. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with me today. I'm so thankful that we have so many strong, incredible, inspiring artists in the world. I'm never creating alone. I'm creating with all of you. We create our future. You aren't doing it alone. I'll see you here next time on Ambient 3D Animations.